Hey guys, Rob Skiba here. As many of you may know, I have for the better part of the last year actually been really wanting to go up to Lake Michigan to do some tests. And that came as a result of seeing this picture taken by a guy named Joshua Nowicki. And he apparently sent this picture, I guess, to a local news affiliate. And then the weatherman tried to explain what we were seeing by saying this.
What you're seeing here is a mirage. We typically would not be able to see this from the Lake Michigan shore. We talked about this last night. Conditions are right on the lake that we're actually seeing a mirage of the Chicago skyline. Very interesting here. Here's what's happening. This is a good example of a superior mirage. So Joshua was on the Lake Michigan shore. He was looking towards the west, and Chicago's beyond the horizon. Should not be able to see it. However, with the right conditions, we have an inversion. We have cold air near the cold lake water and some relatively warmer air above it. This will bend the image of that skyline back towards the viewer. And so typically we would not be able to see this. This image would be viewable from much, much higher in the sky up in space. But instead, we're able to see it on the Lake Michigan shore.
Okay, so after I saw that and looking at that picture, I'm sorry, there's no way that's a mirage, and I couldn't accept that. My friend Rick Hummer couldn't accept that either. He said, you know, we've all seen it. Anybody who lives in this area can look across the lake. We've all seen Chicago. And he and I put together a plan to just drive toward the city, get in a boat and head to the city and drive back. Because if it's a mirage, then it's just going to magically disappear, and then the city will roll up over the ball, and you know, that would be what we would expect to happen. But if it's not a mirage, then the city's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, or smaller and smaller and smaller, depending on which way you're going. So long story short, I wasn't able to make it happen over the last year. There were scheduling problems, there were financial issues, weather was a huge factor, especially during the fall and winter months, where it was very dangerous to go out on the lake. But then I saw a window of opportunity where my schedule lined up, Rick's schedule lined up. I actually had the money saved up, and it looked like at least 2 days in a 10-day forecast that looked promising. So I booked a flight on Wednesday, June 22nd, 2016, and our plan was to get on the lake on Friday the 24th, and we did. We were able to book our trip with Salmon Hunters Fishing Charters. This is his boat right here, Captain Tony's boat. And once we got all paid up, we backed the boat up and headed over to this area right here, sort of this alcove right here. Now, you're going to hear Tony taking a reading in a few minutes. When I start the video, you'll see him saying that from right about here, where I've got this line right here, just before we came out of the alcove, that it was 37 nautical miles from there to the Willis or Sears Tower in Chicago. Now, you'll notice that he's got a very zoomed out view on the device that he's using, and I'm not sure exactly where he put the mouse. That gave him 37 nautical miles, or in statute miles, that's about 42.6 miles. When I went on Google Earth here and charted out the same exact distance, I found that it was actually 46 statute miles from the little alcove there in the marina to the Sears Tower, or Willis Tower as it's now called, right to here, directly to the tower. See, that was exactly 46 miles right to the tower from where we were when we first started taking pictures. So, but for the sake of this video, just to keep it brief, we'll go ahead and use the numbers that Tony had, just keeping in mind that in reality, it may have been actually about 4 or 5 miles further than what he was reporting. All right, so this video will be just sort of a highlight video. I'm going to keep it short. Then I'm going to do another much longer video explaining a little bit more about what we were doing and why we were doing it, and especially my feelings after it was over, and where I am now with the research that I've been doing. So with that in mind, let me just say that this video and the purpose really of the trip, the one goal I had was to prove that what people are seeing from the other side of Lake Michigan is not a mirage, that they are actually seeing the city. That was my goal going there. I believe we achieved that goal. And so that is the primary focus of this video. In the longer video, I'll deal with a few other things. All right, here we go.
So here's our boat, New Buffalo Harbor, and this is where we fish out of. So we'll take the range out to be southern Lake Michigan.
Cool. That'll give us a distance.
Yeah, that'll give us a distance when I move the cursor over to the river. So that's all the way across. It's 36.87 miles to the pierhead there. Cool. We'll shoot for that, and then as we get closer, you guys can just tell me which shot you want.
Okay.
So we got a 280-degree heading for 36 miles.
All right.
So we'll get trucking over that way. If you need to slow down, just let me know. I'll go about 28 miles an hour or so.
Cool. They're over this way a lot, though.
Yeah.
Did you see that lady with the dog on the surfboard?
So how far are we right now? 37 nautical miles on a heading at 280.
And
Okay, so what do you think, Rob?
I can see Chicago. We're about 42 miles away. I can see it. The problem is trying to get the camera's having trouble focusing on it because it's moving up and down and it's so zoomed in. But I can totally see it.
But it's just not fast. We today come on over 200 copper. So
There's the city right there.
yeah, you're gonna
have to, it's zoom all the way in first and then try to tap.
you can run copper edge, you'll definitely catch fish.
That's amazing. 40 miles away.
Okay.
You want to just head out?
Okay.
All right, we're good.
Whatever you need.
Here we are.
Heading out.
Lake Michigan. Woohoo! Captain Tony, salmon hunters, charters, right? Salmon hunter charters?
Yeah, that's correct. 700 fishing charters.
Yeah, salmon hunter fishing charters.
What's your name?
First name, Nathan. First name, Nathan. First name. You're the first name. What do you think, Skiba?
I think it's amazing, dude. It certainly did. It's not a mirage, I can tell you that.
Now, when you and I first started talking, and you brought this up to me, and I said, oh yeah, I can see Chicago across Lake Michigan. You remember what you said?
I don't remember what I said.
You went, no way. You said, no way.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, you can see all the way across. And now you've seen it.
I've seen it, and it ain't a mirage.
It's not a mirage. I think we need to get that weather guy to come out here with us
Yeah.
and record his, not just his reaction, but his words.
Yeah.
And then I want to see the black feathers hanging out of his mouth when he eats crow.
That's right. This is a rough draft. Obviously, it's very bouncy.
Yeah.
But this is we're documenting this to show that it really does exist and it's not a mirage.
It's not a mirage.
You picked the right day to see it. That's amazing.
Rare.
We couldn't see it earlier.
Rare words, man. Rare words.
Don't even need the Nikon full fix.
Don't need it.
How far out are we now?
29 from it, and we left at what? 47? No, 37.
37.
We've gone 8 nautical miles.
Okay.
And we're 29.7 nautical from it.
29 nautical right now?
Yep. We're 27 miles out, nautical miles.
Yeah.
So that means 32, something like that, 33.
Say it again.
I said we're still 27 nautical miles away.
Okay.
We've gone about 10 miles from New Buffalo.
You want to shoot off the stern again?
Oh man, I can see it right here, guys.
That's a heck of a mirage right there.
Say that again, Tony.
That is a heck of a mirage right there.
Yeah. And hey, just so you know, this whole time, what has been our heading?
Our heading has been 280 degrees, which is just 10 degrees off of due west.
But we also were using, what was our focal point?
Our focal point was the Sears Tower.
Which is also known as the Willis Tower, right?
Yes, the Willis Tower.
The Willis Tower, and we could see it the entire time.
We can see it the entire time, and every morning that I fish, I can usually see 2 of the 3. And then when the sun hits the city, you can see 3 of the 3 almost every morning, as long as it's clear.
And is it because there's a haze and you finally, like, cutting through the haze? There's enough
Yeah, it
haze
finally cuts to the haze. The sun angle, as soon as it gets high enough, it hits that white building and it just shines.
Gotcha. So yeah, we've been traveling roughly about 15 minutes, I'd say.
Yeah, maybe a little bit longer, probably
longer?
half an hour.
Half an hour on the water.
With the amount of time we stopped to
Oh yeah,
shoot.
yeah. You
You
getting
need to
around?
swing around more, or are you good?
No, I think we're good right here. When it's zoomed in, it's almost impossible to keep it. But you don't even need to zoom in. I mean, it's right there.
27 miles out.
Okay, I think we're good.
What do you think, Nate?
Science.
The first mate. The first mate.
Nate the mate.
Nate the bait.
First mate Nate.
Tony, how long have you been doing this?
I started out when I was 12, and I'm 50 now.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I got my captain's license in 1985. Wow. Almost halfway.
Almost halfway.
What's that?
Almost halfway to the mirage.
Yeah, that's the mirage. I'm waiting for the mirage to come down and meet the city.
Yeah,
Better hurry.
better hurry up.
So when's the mirage gonna disappear?
That sailboat.
What's that?
When's the mirage gonna disappear?
Yeah, when will it disappear?
Sailboat's headed right for the mirage.
Exactly,
Wait,
man.
wait,
Yeah.
Sorry, brother. Stepping all over your toes.
So what's that straight over there?
That's Hammond and Gary.
Gary?
That's where the Jackson 5's from.
That is where the Jackson 5 comes.
The Jackson 5 from Gary?
We're down to the
Yeah.
Jackson 4, though, aren't we?
Yeah, we are down there, Jackson 4.
Jackson 4.
Oh, is Tito still alive?
I don't know.
I thought we lost Tito.
I don't
Oh
know.
no, that was Toto. The band. They broke up.
Tito's the vodka. Made in your home state.
That's right.
18 and a half will be halfway.
18 and a half?
Nautical miles will be halfway.
Yeah.
We're 4 miles away from halfway.
Oh, so we're almost halfway.
Almost halfway.
Almost halfway. So we're about halfway across the lake right now, and obviously we can see Chicago no problem, but we can also see Gary right there.
Gary, Hammond, East Chicago is up around that shoreline as you go around.
So we'll have to, when we get back, try to figure out how far the way
reminder, Rob's playing Candy Crush.
I'm on my Candy Crush. that would be my wife. Sheila would be playing Candy Crush, not me. I'm typing, seen Chicago from 40 miles away, now halfway. It's not a mirage.
Right on. It's not a mirage.
It's not a mirage.
Hey man, while we're on the bow of the boat, so Rob, explain what you're seeing on the haze.
Purple haze, man.
Well, see what a lot of people mistake as
no.
as a curve. It's
Yeah.
the haze.
I've become more and more convinced that what we think is the water being obscuring the bottom of ships is the same illusion that we see when we see cars driving out in front of you on a long straight road.
Yeah.
It looks like the car disappears wheel first into the road, and it looks like it's almost going into water. But it's not. It's just a mirage. And then when you drive to the same spot, the car that disappeared in front of you, when you drive to that same spot, now all of a sudden you disappeared to the guy behind you.
Right.
So I believe that what we may be looking at is an optical illusion.
Well,
I mean, if we want to talk about a mirage, that's not a mirage. That's not a mirage. But when we see things disappear, I think that what we're seeing is disappearing due to a mirage-like effect of the water. And we can see the haze at the bottom of the city right there, obscuring.
well, and that's go ahead. Go ahead.
Obscuring the haze right now is obscuring the bottom of the city. You can see that right there. But I think that we also see the same effect with water. That water can do the same, create the same type of illusion that we're seeing with the haze right there, obscuring the lower part of a city or a boat or whatever you're looking at across the way.
It's definitely a haze over the water. It's definitely a haze.
Yep. How far are we now?
14, more than half, 4 miles more than halfway.
Here's a guy right there that I do believe is going to finally come out and say it's flat. It's flat. Oh, he's a kid in the candy store right now. It's flat.
Right at about 10.
About 10 miles
Yep,
out.
27 from home.
We're 27 from
From New Buffalo.
New Buffalo.
Yeah.
About 10 miles away from the
You know,
city.
that haze is disappearing. When you get in it, it just kind of fades away.
Yeah. We'll be getting in it probably pretty soon. I don't know if we'll even perceive it though.
Yeah, I don't think we will.
You know what I can see? Well, you can't see because you got the filter on the thing, but if you go out here and look on the side, you can see like the colors of the rainbow very faintly.
Yeah, I see it through my these.
You can see it?
Yeah.
That's that. You can see evaporation. It's water molecules in the air. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I believe
What's
it.
crazy is it's right underneath where the sun's at. That's why it kept moving. That's what's going on. It's the heating point on the water
Yeah.
from the sun because there's not one over there.
Yeah. Now, this was really interesting, this part right here. We were noticing that the sun, of course, was right above us. It was in the middle of the afternoon. And there was a hot spot just right below the sun, like a localized hot spot. And that didn't really make a whole lot of sense if the sun is shooting parallel light rays across 93 million miles. But I'll deal with that more in the longer version. It's just something that kind of came up as a result of our observations on the lake.
All right, this is 8.5 miles from the actual shoreline.
That's my camera.
8 miles from the
My phone
shoreline.
is my monitor.
And then when you're ready, I'm going to plug us back into home and see what we...
Okay. Will you be able to plot home from the city? So we have a general idea, or are you gonna?
Yeah, it's probably 103 degree course to get home.
On the drone itself, I have
But will we still be able to figure out how far we are away from Chicago?
Yeah, I can just take the cursor backwards.
Just like this?
Or we can just subtract from 37.
Oh, you mean do math?
Yeah, you can do it. We'll get some paper.
I mean, we have to. Yeah, we'll put our toes together.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to take 40.
Yeah, we need 40 toes.
That's a Wi-Fi machine right there.
You got enough battery in your phone?
Yeah, it'll work.
That's autopilot. You know what I mean?
What's that? Oh, there it goes. Sweet.
Now this drone was really cool, and I got to look over Rick's shoulder and see the footage. It would have been wonderful to have in this video, especially since it was shot with the fisheye lens, so it had the really bowed globe look, you know, that people love to say, see, here's curvature, here's curvature. But also it was just awesome 360 degree. He went all the way around the boat and got some just great footage of us in the boat and looking toward the city. But the only problem was when we powered down, there was an issue with the file not saving correctly, and actually we lost the footage. So we at least have the footage that showed that we did it, but unfortunately we don't have the drone footage to show you. And we were both pretty bummed out about that, and Rick, poor Rick, really beat himself up over it. But at least he was able to show his skills as a drone pilot over open waters.
Yeah, Rick,
That should go viral.
there you go. Rick,
I should have fell in.
Rick Hummer is a certified naval pilot right now. Landed on an aircraft.
Navel is in belly button.
All right, naval.
Let's set Junior right
Yeah,
there.
thank you, Tony.
All
Hey,
right.
Tony, you don't get to do that every day on this boat.
No.
Man.
Man, I did not think you were
You
gonna
rock,
get
brother.
in that smoothly.
Huh?
And we were about 8 nautical miles off the coast of Chicago there, and didn't really see any need to go any further. We saw everything we needed to see, and we were running kind of late, needed to get back, and actually running a little bit low on fuel too. So I said, you know, yep, just head back. I'm going to set up some cameras and point them at the city so we could watch it the whole way back and show everybody that it's not a mirage.
That's the proof right here. That's the proof.
Absolutely.
If it'll go, I want to keep this on a continuous shot the whole time.
The hotspot's going right in front of the city.
Yeah.
That's going to blind us. So 1 year ago, Rob and I were talking about doing this same test. And we said there's no way you can get a shot during the summer because it gets too hot. And we were wrong. You can see Chicago during the summer all the way across the lake. And it's not a mirage. Hey, 1 year ago, we were talking about doing this.
Yeah, almost exactly a year ago. And here we are.
Yeah.
It took a year to make it happen, but here we are.
Woo! Got it! We got it!
This is awesome.
So what does this mean?
we found the only piece of water in the whole ball that's totally black.
Right.
Because we didn't go over no big hump.
And we found the only lake that I know of that has a hot spot when the sun's right above a certain spot. That's amazing.
That is interesting. You would think if the sun is 93 million miles away, throwing parallel light onto the earth, that you would not have the sun straight overhead, putting a hot spot in one localized area. You would think the entire lake would be a hot spot.
Right. Well, you can see it on the drone footage. You can see it on the drone.
Good.
Oh yeah.
You can see just
You can see the hot spot. Yeah.
Wow.
Not just that, but you can see it here right now. Where's that?
Yep. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm seeing it with my own eyes. And all I know is I saw Chicago for 40 miles, and it ain't a mirage.
It's not a mirage.
It's not a mirage. We're gonna make t-shirts that say, it's not a mirage.
Because it's not. It's not a mirage. And we want to say special thanks to Captain Tony.
Yeah, special thanks to Captain Tony.
Tony!
Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
No problem. This is the geeky camera taking pictures of the camera shot.
So, the biggest thing is, I think the biggest obstacle we have though, Rob, is letting people understand that when you're losing the bottom part of the city,
It's an illusion.
it is an illusion, but it's not even an illusion. It's just,
Condensation.
it's
water.
either condensation, precipitation,
Well, it's
precipitation.
It's clearly a water issue. 25 nautical miles away.
Tony, yes sir. When we stopped back there in Chicago, how far away from the city were we when we were sitting in the water? When we ran,
8 miles.
When we flew the drone?
8 miles.
We were 8 miles out?
Maybe a little less.
So we were 8 miles out when we flew the drone, 8 miles from the city of Chicago when we started up and took off and left. And Rob's got the camera going now. And we've been recording the entire time, never losing sight of the city. But one of the things that I can say is that we do know for a fact that there was a bluish haze above the water that was at least somewhere between 8 miles out and the city itself. And that haze actually cut off the bottom of the buildings at the same exact line that you can't see from the beach in New Buffalo.
Look around now. How deep down does this go? Huh? Yeah. Look around now. Yeah, go ahead. How's it go again? Yeah. How far deep down does this rabbit hole go?
half a tank and a half a tank.
Mission accomplished.